Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, and welcome to the first Quarterback Club Luncheon for 2017 VMI Football. I'm Wade Branner, VMI Athletic Communications and voice of the Keydets. Everyone's looking forward to this Saturday where the Keydets take on Air Force. And before we get started, we would like to extend our gratitude to the VMI Keydet Club, which has helped to underwrite the cost of this luncheon and helped to set up all the nice preparations here for this first quarterback luncheon. And it goes without saying, we're very much appreciative of the Keydet Club and their efforts in support of VMI's athletics mission and support to the Institute. And our gratitude to Greg Cavallero, Andrew Deal, and his staff. We see Buzz Bezirnik, the president, is here, along with Bill Paulette, past president. Thanks for being here today. But thank you so much, Keydet Club, for all your help with VMI Athletics. So it's on to football this Saturday. VMI Air Force. It will be the furthest west a VMI football team has traveled to play a football game, and only the fifth time that a VMI game has been played west of the Mississippi, VMI football game. So it's a 2 o'clock local time start. It's going to be a noon kickoff in Colorado Springs. And as we know, Coach Wachenheim and staff, they've been busy ever since the first day, way back on Monday, July 31st, first day of practice, big to-do list, naming a starting quarterback and developing the running game, continuing the improvement on defense, and Coach Wachenheim and staff players excited about all the progress they made in preseason camp. So without further ado, let's bring on VMI head football coach Scott Wachenheim.
Y'all ready for some football? Yeah. All right, Keydet style. First of all, thank you to the Keydet Club for all you do for VMI football, the support, the fundraising. It makes everything we do possible. The first thing I want to do, sitting right in front of me, is Joey Brown. And he's the reason I coach football. You know, one of the questions, Alan Smith, the new defensive line coach, he talked to the team. I have everybody talk to the team, and Alan got up and says, you got to know your why. So I went up there and I told him the reason I coach is for everybody in this room. The reason why I coach is for young men like Joey Brown, a walk-on from Richmond, Virginia, came here as a quarterback, moved to receiver, has moved then to tight end. We have him playing our B-back spot, which is a hybrid tight end fullback spot. He's first-class president, which Buzz told me a long back, that's the most powerful man on campus, right? On post, right, Buzz? So, you know, he's first-class president. He is unbelievable with our rats and helping them get from A to B to C to D. And he is an outstanding player. He's playing his best football that he's played, and he's playing so well and doing so much that we put him on scholarship this year. And he's going to be in the United States Marine Corps upon graduation, defending my ability to coach football, taking care of us, and I'll sleep well at night knowing Joey's out there taking care of our country. So that's why I coach. I want to say, just, hey, Joey, I love you, and it's going to be a great year this year. So VMI football this year, we get to go to the United States Air Force Academy. I'm wearing my Air Force blue in honor of my alma mater. I graduated there in 1984 with a civil engineering degree. Was lucky. My first assignment was a second lieutenant football coach there, and that's where I got the burn to be a football coach. And I couldn't fly a plane too well. I watched out of pilot training in T-38s, and so I finished my time in the Air Force and got right back into coaching. And I think it's really helped me be a football coach here at VMI to understand what our Keydets go through on a day-to-day basis. For instance, this morning they were awoken probably about 0600 with a nice sweat party, and they'll get ready to come out to practice. And so it helps to understand what they've been through day to day and the academic demands placed on them and also the military demands. This has just been an outstanding fall training camp, really the best I can remember as a head coach, football coach for sure, and even as an assistant coach. And that starts with Dr. Dave Dials and the hard work that he did to help us report July 30th. A new rule came out that gave schools the ability this year, it will be mandatory next year, but the ability to not have two-a-days and just have 1 day of practice, which for VMI is huge. It's just because the last 2 years we've had 7 days of two-a-days practice. And when you add to that we have 5 days of drill and ceremony training with Sergeant Major Neal to get ready for matriculation, what we're going to miss, it makes for a busy day for our rats. So to be able to come on July 30th and take the VFT on the 31st get to work that afternoon practicing, and just practice one a day. And then in the morning, we practice in the morning just in case there's thunder and lightning. Then we give them the mandatory 3 hours off the NCAA requires. Then we come back and we either have a weightlifting session or a recovery session. The weightlifting is what it is, strength and conditioning training. The recovery session on the Tuesdays and Thursdays is they got these foam rollers, they got all these weird stretches, they got all this newfangled stuff. But I think it really helped our young men stay healthy because we have just about our whole squad ready to go for this football game against Air Force. So just coming out that early, it also allowed us to get some training by the VMI cadre, which I think has just paid huge dividends for our football players. In addition to the 5 hours of drill and ceremony with Sergeant Major Neal, we got 3 hours of, how to set up your room, how to fold your clothes, how to shine your shoes, how to clean, disassemble and put together a rifle, which I heard some chuckles out there, but there's two things that came of it. One, the cadre got to meet my freshman team, which I had 29 there at the time, and they got to see that they cared and that they paid attention and it was important to them. Number two, my guys, they used to miss that training and they had no idea how to set up a room, how to fold their clothes, what a blue book was, where the blue book was located, and how to spit shine shoes and how to do anything with a rifle. So now we were actually, even though we were at practice all day, and you can ask Colonel Wanovich, our guys were showing the other rats matriculating who were there all day how to do those things. And it really, got the Corps liking us. And Alpha Company Commander and Golf Company Commander both came up to me when I went to lunch the other day and said the football Alpha rats and the football golf rats were the best rats in the company. So that's proud to hear because that's what we're trying to do. I believe we're going to win at VMI because we are VMI. And I also believe when you learn to compete in everything you do to be the best you can be, you're going to compete in what you truly want to be at the highest level you can compete at. And so when we're on the military parade ground or in barracks, we want to be the best military soldier we can be. We've got 13 players with rank this year. We have 2 that are on cadre, 1 that's on the RDC, and I'm looking forward to one day having a regimental commander on the team. We've had 2 battalion XOs, 1 each the last 2 years, and we're doing a great job with that. Militarily, I have nobody on conduct probation, which is huge. When I got here, there were over 10. Right now, there's 0. That's a big thing, and we buy into it. One way you'll be able to know at the Air Force game who's doing well, and everything we ask them to do is the number of stars on their helmet. Obviously, rats can't earn as many, but we have 5 stars you can earn on your helmet. Number 1 is passing the VFT. So if you pass a VFT, you get a star on your helmet. Number 2 is being in good standing with the Commandant's office, and that's based on the spring semester of having 25 demerits or less at the end of the spring semester. Number 3 is a 2.8 GPA. If you have a 2.8 cum GPA or above, you get a star for that. Number 4 is outstanding performance in the weight room. And number 5 is the coaches get together and discuss our players, and we pick, if it's unanimous, this player can help us win a championship in our opinion, then they get the coach's star. We have 5 players that earned all 5 stars this year. Last year we had 7 that earned 4 stars. This year we had 5 that earned all 5 stars. You could probably guess most of them, but Tony Richardson was 1, Ryan Francis was another, Greg Sanders was a 3rd, Gabe Sutherland was the 4th, and the 5th one is escaping me right now, but it will come to me. But you'll see them on the field. We had 7 4-stars, young men that used 4-star. Joey Brown earned a 4-star on his helmet. So you'll see guys that have bought into what VMI is all about, academically, militarily, and athletically, just by looking on the back of their helmets. There's white stars right on the red stripes. We are changing what we're doing offensively. We do want to run the ball more. It comes right from John McKenna. John McKenna is the most successful coach in VMI history by far. So when I got here, Donnie gave me the book Best Regrets. I immediately read it. I've read it 3 times now. I actually have a PowerPoint on it that I show to myself to constantly be reminded on the lessons that John McKenna thought that it took to win at VMI. And he was a guy that was always going to be adaptable. And he took his offense and changed it every year to fit the players that he had and his defense as well. I think our defensive system is perfectly in place. The 3-4 defense for the type of people we can recruit at VMI fits. It's what Army, Navy, and Air Force run. And so it fits what we're doing to a very high level. We got 7 returning starters from a team that had the second best scoring defense in the last 30 years. And excited to see how they're going to play this year. It is the strength and backbone of our football team, and I'm excited to see them get out. The Air Force Academy for them couldn't be a better opponent. Getting ready for the triple option during training camp is a huge advantage for us because we play 3 option teams in the Southern Conference. The Southern Conference is led by the Citadel, who's won it the last 2 years. They're a triple option attack. Furman just hired Clay Hendricks, who was the offensive line coach at Air Force, and they'll run a very similar attack to the Air Force Academy. And then you got Wofford, who is also bases out of the triple option attack as well. So this game against Air Force really helps our defense as they prepare for play in the SoCon, and they've done a great job this training camp of getting ready for Air Force, Catawba, Robert Morris, and then playing what we do on offense. Offensively, the first 2 years here, we had a awesome passer in Al Cobb. We had some great receivers in Aaron Sanders and Dane Forlines and Ryan Swingle, and all those guys have graduated and are off doing things outside of football with their VMI degree, earning money, and I'm sure Greg Cavallero has contacted them for a generous donation to the Keydets Club. Greg, have you heard back yet? All right, good. If they haven't, give me a call. I'll call them and ask, all right? But we do have some very talented running backs. We have, Quan Myers, Tyann Smith, Daz Palmer. Daz was a first-team All-SoCon freshman performer last year. And we also brought in a freshman, Chima Padua, who is Uzoma Padua's brother. And so we have a good stable of backs that we want to get the ball to. Also, in running the run-pass option, it was new when we got here, but a lot of teams have gone to it. And it puts a lot of pressure on the offensive line because they're not sure on the play whether it's a run or pass. So we want them to know when we're running and when we're throwing. It allows them to come off the football a little bit with a more vim and vigor. We're also under center with our quarterback. We're in a 3-point stance, and we also have the quarterback sneak in, which I know is a big concern to a couple of my dearest fans right there. But we do have it 2 different ways to run it too. So we'll get that snapped, I'm sure, a couple of times this year. But we think it gives us the best chance to win. I shared with the Keydets Club, there's 8 ways to win football games. The NFL did a study. The number 1 thing to winning football games is to take the ball away and not turn it over. The number 2 way to win football games is to have explosive runs and passes, where an explosive run is defined as a 12-yard gain in the running game, and an explosive pass is a 16-yard gain in the throwing game. The third thing, which is surprising, but not to us because we learned this lesson last year, is making field goals. And we did bring in a new field goal kicker, Grant Clemens. He's very talented and actually had walk-on tryouts with the Corps yesterday. There was a young kicker that came out and did an excellent job for us that we'll add on the team as soon as he finishes all his paperwork to see if he can compete for the job. But we're much more talented at the kicking position and excited to see how Grant does this year, kicking field goals and extra points for us. We've also changed our field goal protection in an effort to be more firmer up front and just placed a huge emphasis on that play. The other thing that you can do is lower your sack total or get more sacks. If you can get a sack on defense, there's an 83% chance that they won't score on that drive. So if you give up less sacks, you get a better chance of scoring. And by running the football and doing those things, you can fix that. And then time of possession. Winning the time of possession battle is actually the 8th on the list, and you can do that by running the football and controlling the clock. So that's why we've made the change. I believe it gives us a better chance to win. It allows our defense to play less plays. It allows our better players to play less plays and be fresher and go harder for longer periods of time. And this year, as always, the motto is to trust. I want the team to trust their God-given abilities. I want them to trust each other. I want them to trust their coaches. I want them to play to win. It's a difference between playing and playing to win. Playing to win, Jonathan Hader's right there, playing to win is in the 8th inning when that 3-2 pitch is coming over with a runner in scoring position and you're down by a run that you're hoping it's a strike and you get to swing the bat. Playing to play is you're looking for ball 4 up there. Even in the PGA, there's more professional golfers make more par putts than they do birdie putts. And the reason is they know they got another shot when they're putting for birdie. When par, they know they got to do it. So you got to play to win. And the last thing is finishing, and that's what we need to do. We need to finish drives with touchdowns. We need to finish by making extra points. We need to finish in the fourth quarter and win those close games. So I couldn't be more excited. I'll tell you this is the most talented VMI team that I can remember. I've been watching VMI football for 11 years. At Liberty, playing against them and then just keeping track of them because I was with the Redskins and the University of Virginia. We played them one year. We have a lot of talent. We are young. 60% of our team is a freshman or a sophomore. We are retaining our players. Last year, of the 19 players that matriculated, 18 that we signed that were scholarship players, 18 are still here on post. This year, all of our scholarship players that matriculated are still here on post at this point, and we make a strong effort to keep them all here because that's the difference, and then we want to develop them as we go. But I believe we have the most talented VMI team in my recent memory, but they are young, and there will be some growing pains with playing young players, but that's okay. Those are teachable moments, and that's what coaches are here to do, to teach and teach them through those moments. The Air Force Academy is the toughest team that we've opened up with in my tenure here. I mean, Ball State, it was an excellent football team, and Akron was an excellent football team, but Air Force is better. 2 of the last 3 years, they've won 10 football games. That's hard to do. They won a bowl game last year against the University of South Alabama. They talk about losing 10 starters on defense, but I looked on their defense. There's 7 seniors starting. There's 4 juniors on their starting defense. Of their 22 starters, offense and defense, 14 are seniors, 8 are juniors. You know you got the program moving in the right direction when that happens, when you lose 10 starters on defense and they're replaced by 7 seniors and 4 juniors. That's what we're hoping to do at VMI one day. We actually have 8 freshmen in our 2 deep, 8 true freshmen in our 2 deep roster. But they're good. They've earned the spots. They'll play good. They'll play hard, and we'll get after them. I'm proud of the Air Force Academy. I'm proud of their football team. I take pride because when I went there as a player, it's very similar to VMI. He's coming here as a coach. They'd lost for 30-plus years. The old coach, Ben Martin, was retiring. Coach Bill Parcells took over, only could handle it for a little bit, and then he left in like May, and they hired Ken Hatfield, who was my coach. Coach Hatfield started 2-9. Then his second year was my first year, and we were 2-9-1. My senior year, we were 10-2. And I take great pride in the 30-plus years since I've graduated from the Air Force Academy. I believe they've only had 6 losing seasons in those 30-plus years after having 30 straight-plus losing seasons. The method is simple. You recruit high-quality young men that have the talent to play Division I football, that truly desire what VMI has to offer, the unique leadership training, the outstanding academics, and the chance to make big-time dollars when you graduate and make a difference in this world, and then when football's over, be better. The best part of your life is just beginning. So with that, I'll answer any questions, and hope that if you can't make it to Colorado Springs to watch us, that you can watch us on ESPN3 or at least be at the home game against Catawba. So anybody got anything? I am really that good. Gosh, I constantly come here and there's no questions. I mean, it's a good deal. Well, if you think of any, I'll hang around for 5 or 10 minutes, but then I got to get back and get to work and get things rolling. But thank you again for all you do. And know this, Paul Boise comes to practice every day, but practice is open to everybody. And you're always welcome to come. There's nothing, I'll tell you this, when I was at Air Force, when we were losing, 3 guys came to practice. 3. Once we started winning, there's like 100 out there. Let me just tell you this, I remember the 3. I remember the 3. To this day, I remember the 3. So, I mean, it means a lot to those kids. I'll never forget those guys. And if they asked to do anything, I would do it. I'll answer this. So we had to name a quarterback, and Austin's grandfather's here. And we named Austin Calling our starting quarterback 2 weeks ago. He clearly won the competition. It was a very good competition. We have great talent at quarterback. Duncan Hodges is one of them. His brother Devlin is the starting quarterback at Sanford, who is preseason offensive MVP of the SoCon and maybe of the whole entire Division I FCS football. Reese Udinsky, talented young man, was the Big 33 player, the offensive MVP of the Big 33 game in Pennsylvania. Those 3 went at it head-to-head every day, and we were fair. Austin took the snaps with the 1s day 1. Day 2, he was with the 3s. Day 3, he was with the 2s. Day 4, he was with the 1s, and it just rotated that way all the way through until we named a starter. And I told him that's what we were going to do from the get-go, and Austin got better and better. And since we named him starter, much improved. all of a sudden he's come out there with a confidence. He's come out with like, hey, this is my team running the show. I've seen him make 2 good critical errors in the last 2 weeks that were like, you got to be kidding me. Really? You did that? But that's what quarterbacks do. They do some of those. And the key thing about it is the very next play, he was on target, ready to roll. And that's what gave me even more confidence and knowledge that I knew I made the right choice. And our staff made the right choice. It wasn't just me. And kids have confidence in him, and he's in there. He's playing. He's not looking over his shoulder. It's not, he's the guy. And so I thought it was a great competition. I thought he's done a great job, and I feel he gives us a great chance to have the first winning season here in a long time. All right. No questions. I'm out. Last thing. You guys remember, I'm going to ask you. I'm going to say, you're going to have to say who we are, right? You got it? It better be loud. We are! No, one more time. Ready? We're going to go 1, 2, I'm just going to say we are. You all respond VMI. You got it? You guys can do an old yell. You can do this, right? Okay, here we go. We are! There you go. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Coach. Before we all go, just a quick reminder of some fall sports going on. Other fall sports, women's soccer in action tomorrow at Patchen Field. They'll be taking on St. Francis of Pennsylvania. That will start at 4 o'clock. That will also be streamed online. Cross country's getting into action this weekend at the Hokie Invitational in Blacksburg. That will be Friday and Saturday for both the men's and women's cross-country teams, and then the men will be on the road this weekend, Sunday, in Western New York at Canisius. So VMI at Air Force, as Coach said, it's on ESPN3, 2 p.m. local time. If you want to catch it on radio, we will be broadcasting the game on 3WZ locally and on states affiliates across the Commonwealth. So you can catch us there. Again, all that information is on VMIKeydets.com. We have posters and schedule cards in the back. Please note that we've had a time change for East Tennessee State late in the season down at Johnson City. That was originally scheduled for noon. It has now been moved to 3. So please note that accordingly. Again, thank you to the Keydet Club for your help setting up today's event. And go Keydets!